G'day guys, and welcome to what is the first instalment of the Hungry Hunter series. Today we're cooking something nice and easy, pretty simple, and that is cheesy venison burgers with a side of parmesan, pear and walnut rocket salad. And this one's a bit of a family favourite, something really easy to cook after work, get the kids involved, and yeah, it's sure to impress.
Food is so much more than just what you put in your mouth. It's a connection to both the land and the sea and the animals we hunted to acquire it. This show is dedicated to sharing that lifestyle with you. We'll be sharing simple tips and tricks as well as our favourite recipes for wild game and seafood feasts. Cooking both out in the field and in the comforts of our kitchen at home. Welcome to Hungry Hunter. This season of Hungry Hunter is proudly supported by Dog and Gun Coffee, makers of bloody good coffee, ready for adventure.
So today's recipe has two main phases. The first being the venison mince burgers, which we're going to assemble now. In front of me I've got about 300 grams of mince to begin with. We're going to add some breadcrumbs, and then we've got some crushed garlic, tablespoon of oregano, and that's going to be our main spice for this dish. Just some fine salt. This is just ground black pepper. And then we've got 1 egg, which we're going to use to combine everything together. We just want to combine everything so it's at a good consistency and pretty even. In this case, everything's sort of come back together, which is good. And now we've got this sort of workable sort of ball of mince. What we'll do from there is we'll break these into 4 even sized balls. Just shape them with your hands and then give them a flatten out. So that's sort of what you're looking for. I personally like something that's about 1 to 2 centimetres thick. This is something that you can cook for a couple of minutes on each side, and you'll see that heat rising as you have it in the pan. It gives you a good sort of representation of what you're cooking with. That oven now is warm, so we've got the brioche buns and we'll chuck those in the oven. Alrighty, so into our hot pan, we're going to add the 4 burgers. And because they're quite thick, I actually prefer if the pan's not super hot. I'd rather it cook through evenly. And then while that's going in our other pan, we'll add the onion. And again, this is sort of like a light sweat. We're going to just cook it slowly for about 5 to 10 minutes and really get that caramelization going. So the next step is to make what's going to be our little pesto sort of sauce, which is going to go on the top of the burgers and just sort of cut that richness of the cheesy burger. We'll grab a few walnuts and chuck them in. A little bit of parmesan, and we're just going to crush that together with a little bit of oil. Alrighty, so that's quite fine now, a bit of a paste, but it's still got a little bit of texture. What we'll do is we'll add our basil, and again we're just going to smash that down, get it working into a fine paste. Alrighty, so we just flip the burgers. Now we'll get this pesto out into a little dish. Beautiful, and that's just going to go perfectly and really complement the burgers, cut that sort of cheesy richness. So now everything's really taking shape. Our burgers are looking good. They've been flipped, the onions caramelizing. What we're going to do is take those brioche buns out of the oven, and then we'll get started on our parmesan, walnut and pear salad. Okay, so we're going to grab our rocket, which we've washed, and we'll just add that to this bowl. This is where everything sort of starts coming together and taking shape. From there, we'll grab our pear, which we've just thinly sliced, and that's just going to go in. The parmesan, walnuts, and then from there we've got our dressing, which is balsamic vinegar, about a tablespoon, and equal parts of olive oil. Now we'll just combine all of that. So this is a stage where we're just going to go and finish those burgers. We've got some Jarlsberg cheese. This is one that's quite malleable and it actually melts down really nicely, and it's quite a mild flavour, which will really be nice for these burgers, not too overpowering because we've got all the other things going on. Okay, so now we've got the bases of our burgers. Everything's nice and warm and crispy. And we're just going to grab a pretty generous dollop of mayonnaise and we'll spread that on the bottom. The heat of the burgers has melted the cheese, and now we're sort of ready to construct our burgers. As you can see, everything's really nicely melted. and it's sort of drooping over each of the burgers. Just place those on each bun. And then we'll jump back over here and grab our onion. You can see how soft the onion is. Everything's really nice and caramelized. And then I just grab a nice little heap, put that on each of the burgers. Perfect, and last one. Very good. Alrighty, so now depending on obviously what other sort of things you like, we're just gonna add some tomato for simplicity today. And then we're gonna finish with our pesto. Again, this pestos are quite rich. It's only got the basil and sort of olive oil and the walnuts, so it's just a small little dollop. And that will be enough to sort of punch through that intensity of the rich cheese and the caramelized onions and everything that we've got going on in that burger. Beauty. So that's our burgers virtually constructed. We'll just add the buns on. And then make way for the salad, which we're just going to chuck in the middle, and that's everyone can sort of grab at it. And then our leftover walnuts we'll just sprinkle on top. Beautiful. And there you have it. That's our cheesy venison burgers with the parmesan, walnut and pear rocket salad. And yeah, you got the cheesiness and richness in the burgers, and then that sharpness and sort of tartness from the salad, and everything really comes together to make a beautiful dish. And as you've seen, it's a bit of fun to get involved with the family and equally as delicious. So thanks, hope you enjoy.